I'm not surprised, Ross. Is what's funny about this whole thing is because the reason why he's thriving is what people say they love about the quarterback position, which under this particular draft cycle became a knock. But then when Purdy signed his deal, all you heard was, well, Purdy does all the things well, plays from the pocket, throws on time, gets the ball out with perfect placement and accuracy. Oh, damn, that sounds a lot like Shedeur Sanders. But what I love about this whole thing is,
while the football world was busy questioning Shedeur Sanders' draft position, one analyst was sitting back with a knowing smile. Because when Brock Purdy signed his massive deal, suddenly everyone was praising the exact same qualities they'd been criticizing in Sanders. The irony? It's about to blow your mind. What's happening at Browns OTAs right now isn't just proving the doubters wrong. It's exposing the biggest draft evaluation hypocrisy in recent memory. And the analyst who called it from day one, he's got receipts that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about quarterback evaluation. Look, I've been covering the NFL draft for years, and I've never seen a situation quite like this. You've got Shedeur Sanders out there in Cleveland, making every throw look effortless during OTAs, while the same experts who doubted him are now scrambling to explain why they got it so wrong. But here's the thing, one guy saw this coming. From miles away, Emory Hunt from Football Game Plan had Sanders as his #1 quarterback in this entire draft class. Not just recently, we're talking all the way back to his Jackson State days. While everyone else was flip-flopping and getting caught up in the noise, Hunt never wavered. And now he's looking like a prophet. But let's dive into what's really happening here, because this isn't just about one analyst being right. This is about a fundamental flaw in how we evaluate quarterbacks in today's NFL. And it all comes back to that Brock Purdy comparison that's got everyone's head spinning. You see, when Purdy got that massive payday, what did everyone say? Well, Purdy does all the things well. Plays from the pocket, throws on time, gets the ball out with perfect placement and accuracy. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly what Shedeur Sanders has been doing his entire college career. The same qualities that made Purdy worth $60 million a year somehow became knocks against Sanders during the draft process. Hunt put it perfectly when he said, "Well, damn, that sounds a lot like Shedeur Sanders." And he's absolutely right. It exposes this ridiculous double standard where we praise veterans for the exact same traits we criticize in rookies. It's like we're living in some alternate reality where the rules change depending on who we're talking about. But here's where it gets really interesting. What's happening at Browns OTAs isn't just about Sanders proving he can throw the football. It's about him maximizing every single opportunity he gets. And this is crucial. He's not getting reps with the first team during media sessions. Every throw has to count. Think about that pressure for a second. You're a rookie quarterback. You've got everyone questioning whether you should have been drafted where you were, and you only get 9 passes in a practice session. But when 7 of those are completions and 3 are touchdowns, that's not luck. That's precision under pressure. And here's something that'll blow your mind. The Browns could have had Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders on the same team. Can you imagine the jersey sales? The marketing potential? The actual on-field chemistry they already had from Colorado? Instead, they went with Mason Graham 5th overall, a guy who didn't even test that impressively and had people questioning whether he was truly impactful or just benefiting from playing next to Kenneth Grant at Michigan. But let's get back to what's really driving this story forward. The reports coming out of Cleveland have been nothing short of spectacular. We're talking about accuracy that's turning heads, arm strength that's silencing doubters, and a composure that screams NFL ready. This isn't some feel-good story about a rookie having a decent day at practice. This is systematic dominance of every aspect of the quarterback position. Hunt saw this coming because he understood something that apparently flew over everyone else's heads. Sanders wasn't just talented, he was fundamentally sound. While other quarterbacks were being praised for their athleticism or their cannon arms, Sanders was out there making the kind of throws that win football games. The timing routes, the pocket presence, the anticipation throws that hit receivers in stride. You know what's funny? People will normally laugh at taking stats during OTA seriously. But this situation is unique because Sanders doesn't have the luxury of coasting. He can't rest on his laurels and wait for training camp because he's fighting for every rep. Every throw matters when you're trying to compete with Dillon Gabriel and the other quarterbacks on the roster. And speaking of Dillon Gabriel, Hunt had him ranked as his number 9 quarterback in this class. Not terrible, but there's clearly a gap between him and Sanders in terms of evaluation. Gabriel looked smaller during mini-camp than expected, which raises questions about how he'll hold up in an NFL pocket under pressure. But let's talk about the real elephant in the room here. The quarterback situation in Cleveland is about to get very interesting very quickly. You've got Sanders and Gabriel as the rookies. Then you've got veterans like Joe Flacco and potentially Kenny Pickett in the mix. Hunt's prediction? The odd man out is going to be one of those veterans, not the rookies. Think about that for a second. The Browns are going to keep both rookie quarterbacks and let a proven NFL veteran walk. That tells you everything you need to know about how much they believe in what they're seeing from Sanders right now. Now, here's where this story takes another fascinating turn. While Sanders is out there proving all the doubters wrong, let's look at what else went down in this AFC North draft class. Because the Browns didn't just get Sanders, they absolutely nailed this entire draft from top to bottom. They got Mason Graham, who despite the questions, was Hunt's #1 defensive tackle in the entire class. They got Carson Swissinger, Hunt's #1 inside linebacker. You're starting to see a pattern here? The guy who had Sanders as his top quarterback also had these other Browns picks at the top of their respective position groups. But the real kicker? Hunt said if you moved Sanders to the second pick of the first round or the second pick of the second round and looked at how the Browns drafted, it was still a great draft. That's the kind of confidence you have when you truly believe in your evaluations. And those evaluations are looking more prophetic by the day. While other teams in the AFC North made questionable moves, looking at you, Pittsburgh, with Derek Harmon in the first round, the Browns were building something special. They were assembling pieces that actually fit together instead of just drafting for need or trying to get cute with their picks. Let's dive deeper into this Purdy comparison because it really exposes something fundamental about how we evaluate quarterbacks. Purdy gets celebrated for being a system quarterback who makes quick decisions and doesn't turn the ball over. But when Sanders does the exact same things, suddenly it's boring or not flashy enough for a top pick. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. We live in an era where quarterbacks are asked to be pocket passers first, athletes second. Yet when a guy comes along who's mastered the pocket passing part of the equation, we find ways to criticize him for not being enough of an athlete. It's backwards thinking that costs teams real opportunities. Hunt understood this from day one. He saw Sanders at Jackson State making throws that would work at any level of football. While everyone else was getting distracted by measurables and workout numbers, Hunt was evaluating pure quarterback play. The footwork, the timing, the decision-making under pressure, all the things that actually translate to NFL success. And now we're seeing the payoff. Sanders isn't just succeeding despite the doubts. He's succeeding because the doubts were based on flawed evaluation criteria in the first place. The same criteria that somehow made Brock Purdy worth $60 million after initially being Mr. Irrelevant. Here's what's really going to cook your brain. If Sanders continues on this trajectory, we're going to have some serious conversations about draft evaluation as a whole. How many other quarterbacks have we missed on because they didn't fit some artificial mold of what we think an NFL quarterback should look like? The Cleveland Browns might have just pulled off the heist of the century. While everyone else was overthinking it, they went out and got exactly what they needed, a quarterback who can actually play quarterback. Revolutionary concept, right? But let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. This isn't just about Shedeur Sanders or even the Cleveland Browns. This is about a fundamental shift in how we evaluate talent, and Hunt's been ahead of the curve from the beginning. When you look at his other AFC North evaluations, they're just as impressive. He had Malachi Starks as the best safety in the draft, and Baltimore got him at 27. He had Mike Green as potentially the best edge rusher in the class, and the Ravens snagged him at 59. The guy's track record speaks for itself. The Ravens, as usual, seem to get incredible value throughout their draft. It's almost become a running joke at this point. Every one of their picks feels like a steal. But that's what happens when you have a clear evaluation process and stick to it instead of getting caught up in pre-draft hype. Meanwhile, other teams in the division made moves that left you scratching your head. The Steelers taking Derek Harmon in the first round when there were questions about his impact level. Cincinnati dealing with contract drama around their first-round pick Shamar Stewart, who reminded Hunt of Rashawn Gary's process. All the measurables, but couldn't quite put it together consistently. It's a tale of two approaches to team building, and right now, The Browns and Ravens look like they understood the assignment while their division rivals were playing checkers when they should have been playing chess. But back to Sanders, because his story is far from over. Training camp is coming up, then preseason games, and eventually the real thing. Every step of the way, he's going to have to prove that these OTA performances weren't just a fluke. The pressure is real, and it's only going to intensify. Here's what I love about Sanders' situation, though. He's already shown he can handle pressure. Colorado wasn't exactly a low-pressure environment, and he thrived there. Jackson State before that. Same thing. This is a guy who's been performing under microscopes his entire career, and Hunt's evaluation process captured that. While other analysts were getting caught up in combined numbers and pro day performances, Hunt was looking at game tape and seeing a quarterback who consistently made the right decisions when it mattered most. That's not something you can teach, and it's definitely not something you can fake. The Purdy comparison isn't just about playing style. It's about the kind of quarterback success that sneaks up on people. Purdy went from Mr. Irrelevant to franchise quarterback because he did the little things right consistently. Sanders has that same foundation, but with better physical tools and in a better situation to succeed immediately. Here's the question that's going to define the next few months. Was Hunt right all along, or are we getting caught up in small sample sizes and wishful thinking? Based on everything we've seen so far, I know where I'm placing my bets. The analysts who doubted Sanders are now scrambling to explain why they got it wrong. The teams that passed on him are probably having some uncomfortable conversations in their front offices. And somewhere, Emory Hunt is probably just shaking his head, wondering why it took everyone else so long to see what was right in front of them. Because at the end of the day, this isn't really about one draft pick or one analyst being right. This is about the importance of trusting your evaluation process and not getting swayed by popular opinion. Hunt stuck to his guns when it would have been easier to go with the crowd, and now he's looking like a genius. The question is, what other hidden gems are out there that we're missing because we're not looking at the right things? How many more Shedeur Sanders situations are we going to let slip by because we're too busy chasing measurables instead of football ability? One thing's for sure. The Cleveland Browns are about to find out if they just hit the quarterback lottery. And if they did, it's going to change everything we thought we knew about evaluating talent at the most important position in sports. The revolution starts now. The doubters are about to become believers. And Shedeur Sanders? He's just getting started. What do you think? Did the Browns pull off the steal of the century, or are we getting ahead of ourselves? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, but be prepared to defend your position, because this debate is about to get heated. And if you want to stay ahead of stories like this before they blow up, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're bringing you the inside scoops that the mainstream media won't touch. Don't get left behind.